We fought a dragon and lost. Then we walked into the city and everyone was surprisingly really nice to us and said we could stay. And that's literally all that happened, I think.
We found out the starts of puzzle bullshit, and you found out that doing a the particular type of puzzle you threw at us over this particular medium kind of sucks ass.
Yes, I have accumulated other puzzles.
God's plus.
Oh, there are more puzzles. Goodness.
Yeah, we're in a Leighton game. That's what's happening.
That's gonna go super well for me.
Amy threw puzzles at us before, and look how good it went.
You did not do one single puzzle.
I am here.
It's so hard.
We need
puzzle.
We need to just ignore them.
For all Leighton puzzles can be bullshit, they're usually bullshit that actually is logical.
You can just ignore puzzles and do other things, and then.
Oh, also, gold has no value here. So if we want to buy anything at all, we have to do puzzles.
I guess
Ew.
we're gonna have to do puzzles.
Ew. Wait, how does doing puzzles connect to the lack of gold? Wait, I'm confused.
I mean, we can't use our gold currency here, really.
Yeah, and they have their own currency, which if we solve puzzles, they will give us.
Oh, ew.
I know, right?
I think I left a little bit early last time and missed the bit where we did puzzles to make money, which makes me big sad.
I know, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was a math puzzle too. It was the worst.
God, I might have actually cried. I'm glad I left.
I'm pretty sure that took us at least 30 minutes to do.
Yeah,
I think you'll have like $5 now.
Yay!
I'm so proud of us.
This is like
when
you do stuff at like a school carnival and you get tickets and you just have to do
you have 5 coins is what you have.
Wow, we can buy a taco.
The scale of the coin, like as far as actual purchasing powers?
Nope, not yet.
Not yet? Okay, motherfucker.
Yeah.
We could probably get like a Subway. Like
you live in a place where Subway is $5?
I wish.
Not anymore.
I should go get a sandwich from Starbucks.
It's a $6 foot long now. It used to be a $5 foot long.
No.
Wait, y'all have $6 foot longs?
Yeah.
Yep.
Fuck.
How much are they there?
Cheapest one available is God, I don't know, but it's not $6. Even the cheap ones. Oh.
It used to be $5 for a foot long, and they had like this little
$5 foot long. Yeah.
$5 foot long.
It was like
$5.
$5.
$5.
Yeah.
$5 foot long. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our old jingles don't work no more because they fucking raised prices. God damn it.
Well, I think it's because like after a while that wasn't sustainable
at $5.
At a price point.
Yeah.
And also their spokesperson got busted for having child porn.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Oh right, that was a thing.
I forgot about that. That was ages ago.
Are you recording, Ren?
Yes, I am recording.
Oh nice.
Excellent.
We're gonna get sued by Subway. Hooray. Mostly because Jamie did an amazing recap and I didn't want to miss it, so.
That was an amazing it was too
Yes. Because Ren is gay. That's why it's an amazing recap.
Jamie,
that,
you
but
need
also
to understand
you speak very clearly,
story-eyedness of Ren's level of gay.
She's so valid and cute.
Can't believe
so y'all are at a cafe, basically.
Oh yeah.
God's bless.
An outdoor cafe, and you have retrieved food, which is good. It's good in that you get the sense these people have had like 5, 6 ingredients that they've been working with for a very long time.
That's fair.
And so we'll do just buck wild shit with it.
Did we pay for the food?
You got it as part of your puzzle solving.
The puzzle.
I see.
I forgot to tell you.
We actually got paid for doing the puzzle.
Yeah. It was hard.
Interesting.
Yeah, we had to do it mostly because we broke their measuring cups. So
Oh,
He broke his own damn measuring cups.
yes, we just startled them. So
Yes, because
can't
Leighton
believe
NPC.
I left for 30 minutes and Yell broke his measuring cups.
Hi, Belle.
Girlfriend!
hello.
Hi.
Okay. Um,
Sorry,
you
continue.
you sort of end up like eating and just watching the marketplace move. It is brightly colored, but you see some of the same faces again and again sort of moving, and you get the sense it's not very populous. Like this place is like it's a relatively large village, but not so large that you don't start noticing the same people, if that makes sense. Um, it's there's not they sell like basic food supplies. It it's less of a market and more just, well, we have nothing to do trapped in the city, so let's just go out into the air and talk like it's a market sort of deal.
Gotcha.
It's a people trapped in a place feigning at what was probably a large part of their culture that has now just sort of faded into tradition and unthinking practice.
Hmm.
Um, there is some like food exchanging hands. Someone at one point does receive like some clothing from a tailor shop, but it's the city looks a lot bigger and more grand for just its population.
I mean, that's not surprising, because how long did you say they'd been trapped here?
Couple centuries.
There's only so much reproduction you can do when you got a limited.
Gotta kill the fucking dragon.
Talia is kind of just wide eyed and watching everything.
Fias is kind of curious about the textiles. He's just kind of like looking around curiously.
Well,
I mean, it's not hard to like wander over to like the tailor if you want to.
Sure. You have to see
Uh,
what sort of style clothing they use.
you sort of approach, and this Yanti woman is still talking with a couple of other women who are just sort of like at the stand, just sort of gossiping back and forth.
Oh
Um,
boy.
and but a lot of what's sort of out is it is a much thinner cloth than sort of what is traditional Tal'Darai. It's probably similar to a more of a marquette
makes
in
sense.
terms of it's made to deal with heat.
It's more of a linen fabric then.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's made for heat, but it's also made for wet heat.
Gotcha.
Um,
Easy breezy
and
beautiful.
um, but a lot of it has like slips of precious, like what looks like very like it's very colorful and it's sort of sparkly.
Yes.
There's a lot of like sequiny, and as you look closer, it's not sequin. It's like actual like chips of like precious gems.
Mm.
Um,
I am immediately invested in
Vias is
Well, do we want to do the
excited.
puzzle to get some?
Oh, no.
I would like to. Bias is like tapping
Yeah,
his hands together.
I
like,
as a player, in fact, actually, I think
I mean,
Barry
Susanna would,
as well.
because Susanna's
Like-
like that, but IPK don't wanna.
like, do they have bolts of fabric or anything? Like,
There's a couple of bolts of fabric, but they look less. They don't look like they have been
bedazzled.
bedazzled yet. But there's like
Damn it.
there are. She has like a couple. It's kind of strange because you see these like fairly decent sized sort of like jars of just what looks like powdered and chipped fine gemstone.
Interesting.
Like there's one that looks like it could have been from rubies, but it is like a typical honey jar size. And it's just sort of out. It's just sort of out. Like there's there's nothing protecting it. It's just kind of on the shelf.
Oh boy. Well, that speaks volumes.
It's terribly shiny.
Oh god, that fabric is so beautiful.
I agree,
Do
that
we
is
want to
gorgeous.
ask?
I want to make something like that now, damn it. And I don't have any of the tools I would at home.
Why don't we inquire about
Oh, I mean, that's not what we
At
came
least
here
you can
for
take a
now.
closer look at it, just in case you feel like replicating it later.
I guess. Mm,
Bias,
came here to
apparently
save
we're
that
stuck here for a
man.
while, so might as well learn.
I mean, we've made similar things in Market. I mean, or Haven. I mean, they have some. We just don't have all the chips of freaking gemstones, because that's expensive. Unless you want a very fine piece of artisan quality bedazzled
Apparently,
clothing.
it's not expensive here.
I would beg to differ. It's just expensive in a different way. Probably.
There's kind of a bit of a pointed look at the, because I assume based on what you said, there's multiple of these jars. Just
Yeah. It is. There's like one that's like red, one that's like sort of a greenish, one that looks like an amber topaz. One that's blue, but there's like a little bit less of like there's a smaller jar for the blue stuff. Um,
I guess Vias will get past his hesitance and just kind of wander up to them.
yeah, the group of three women sort of look over, and like the two that aren't like in the tailor shop kind of like like and sort of lean back and towards each other, like watching you approach as the tailor just kind of what can I do for you, Sonny?
I was admiring your fine workmanship here.
Oh, thank you.
I was wondering how much would these pieces of cloth, or maybe even a fabric with some of these chips of stone in them, be even?
Oh, what sort are you looking for? Or are you looking at? What's caught your eye?
Oh, there's too much to think about. I mean,
Susanna points to the one with rubies,
you like the
because
rubies?
it's shiny.
Okay.
Some sort of top would
Of
be
course.
really nice.
Yeah, garnet, ruby. All right, I can do that. Well, I don't suppose you don't have any coin on you, but even then, I could barter. I could use a little bit of a hand with something.
I mean, I work with fabrics and the like. I'm much of a. I come from a weaver's family. I mean, we do much with cloth. If
We would,
She gives you. She kind of gives like this look of like, ooh, interest. Like,
Vias just nods vigorously.
okay. Uh, if you want to give me a little bit of, tell you what, bit of fabric for a bit of fabric, yeah.
Of course, yes, yes, yes.
Um, and she sort of like it's like like almost like an open air stall, so there's not like a back, but she
Mhm.
sort of grabs under the counter and she pulls out um what looks like a fairly large sort of square piece of fabric. And I got someone who's looking for it who wants me to like embroider this what's this woman's voice? Oh my god.
It's something.
Whatever it needs to be.
Yes.
Something is happening with that voice, and it's unclear what exactly it is.
She can be
Um
whoever she wants.
uh she goes, "Well, I got something I need embroidered." And I got a little bit started on it, but I'm getting kind of old and like my eyes aren't as what they good to be, so the detail work's a little bit difficult these days, you know? Um, so if you could just real quickly finish up this pattern for me, I can give you a cut of whatever fabric you want.
I would love to help.
All right. Uh, she sort of lays this piece of fabric out in front of you, and here it is.
Oh god, what are we doing? I don't know what this is.
Give me a
Uh,
second because I just realized that I wasn't as a player, so I can have a look at it.
please do.
Oh, I forgot that there were like visual things. I'm not even on the Roll20. Well,
Yeah.
I've had an ice pack on my eyes for most of this time. 1 second.
Aww.
I mean, if you don't
Okay.
want, if you can't look at it, it's fine.
I need to participate.
This is bias's thing. If you don't want to participate, you don't have to. But
I
no
want to
problem.
participate. The fabric is shiny.
God bless.
She goes, "Well, what I need here is I need I've been embroidering this cloth green and yellow, and you can see the green and yellow. There's like a it's not any of the gemstone, but it looks like there are like spaces in the embroidery where she's gonna hook it through later.
Mhm.
Um, but she goes, "That's not client wants three colors, not lively enough. So I want to add two red squares to each of the four yellow areas. You see the triangle pieces?" And she
Mhm.
sort of like points a finger,
Yep.
like just to uh thing is people around here like get all sorts of picky and creative, because he ain't got much else to do. Um, so this one doesn't want more than one red square in any given row, column, or diagonal.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Got that?
Yep.
Excellent. I'll leave it here. And she pulls out like red embroidery floss as well, and like needle, and like hands it over.
Oh god.
All right, let me know what you're done. And she sort of turns her attention back over to the two women, and they sort of start talking. And you, she starts pulling fabric and helping them with something.
Okay, so
So we can do. I can already see we can do one here, and
well, we have to put one in the two blank pieces, not
yeah,
not in the other ones.
yeah, but there needs to be two red in each
Oh, two red,
triangle.
right.
Yeah. So at the moment, with the horizontal ones, we can currently do, because this type of thing is my shit. Is the shit I enjoy.
Good.
Right now, with the two side ones, we have the option of those two, those two,
Yep.
um, that one, that one. Yeah.
Those two are basically.
So with the two side ones, those are our options.
Yeah.
So probably. So you
Probably
sort of
wanna
see
do
where I've
this
done the
one
red marks?
here, I think. Because if we're gonna go to the one over here, we want to do probably like that square.
Yeah.
Maybe? Wait. That's diagonal from that one. Never mind.
Shit, yeah, diagonals.
Yeah.
I know you had said, but I need to, which means, okay, so the only one by the rule of diagonals we can do is here, on this side.
Okay.
Give me a second and I will update them.
Yeah, because we can't do these two over here, I don't think.
Yeah, we can, because they're not on a diagonal from...
Well, I'm talking about, for putting red squares in this side. The very top. I don't know.
Well, the only place we can do a...
Can't put it there.
is where I put the red X for the right side, right? That's the only place we can do that. Because everything else either violates the diagonals or within the same horizontal.
Sure.
Yep.
I think so.
Am I making
Puzzle
sense?
time.
Okay.
Hey, I like this type of puzzle.
That one there would be. I think we could probably put it here, couldn't we? For that red.
Possibly. Just give me a second and I'll work out where we can't. You know what? It's gonna be
I wish
easier.
I had a piece of graph. You know where I have a piece of graph paper? In my fucking Cobalt Soul notebook. Fuck yeah!
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm just gonna do yellow for the areas we can't do, because that's...
Oh, hold on.
Because that way we can process of elimination it.
Puzzle stuff, because I never use the graph paper for anything. Ugh.
ADM.
Yeah.
While they're doing this, can Zoella like graffiti a little cartoon crow somewhere in the shop?
Do you have things to graffiti with?
I have
Zoella.
paper supplies.
Okay. Roll a sleight of hand.
Do it. Oh boy. Let's see here.
15.
Yeah. You doodle a little crow on like sort of the bottom side corner of the stand. No one notices.
And a little
Congrats.
speech bubble that says, don't do drugs, kids.
Fuck.
I love Zoella
Okay.
so damn much.
Excellent. I love it. What language is it written in?
Oh, common.
Good.
Okay. Also, Parker, I hope you don't mind me marking up your map.
I don't.
So
Is that
yellow
to
is
eliminate?
where we cannot do. So
And what about
Are
the
we-
red X's?
Okay, but do the diagonals end within the yellow sections, or do they go through the whole of the fabric?
yellow is where we can't.
No, sorry, like the yellow sections on the map. Like, do the diagonals, like, do the rows diagonals, do they only count for within the yellow section that we're working on in that moment, or do they extend, like,
I think they extend.
across the whole of the? Okay. Okay.
Give me a second so I can finish amending that marking very slightly because I need to do this one. That said, that actually narrows down our pool quite substantially.
I'm just marking up my heckin'
Well, where I put yellow is where we can't put one at the moment. So. Yep, okay.
Okay, we can't put it. Oh god damn it, my mouse isn't working. What this? Roll 20, you bastard. You better not have done what I think you just did. Okay, good. I thought it rejoined me as a GM, and I was like, fuck you. That's fine. We're good.
So,
Let's see. So this one. We can't put one here because that's diagonal, or here.
Yeah. Wait. Where's the one you were just? Oh yeah. Sorry, I thought I had
Because of
marked
the
those
red.
off.
You're good.
Okay, so
We
that
can't put one
actually.
here either. Wait, no, never mind. We're fine. Never mind.
Yeah. Why can't we put one there?
No, you're fine. I'm
Okay.
thinking wrong. So I'm gonna mark where the
So
pieces are already.
if we put one, I'm just gonna do pink for hypotheticals.
Sure.
So if we put one here, that would make this one a no. This one a no, and then would finish off this block. Does that work? That looks like that works.
Sure. I'm just looking. I feel like that pink would be fine there, and then we could do.
Okay, so we're definitely cementing in that there, right?
Let's keep it hypothetical for now.
Okay.
But I think that would be fine.
Yep.
Yeah, because it doesn't mess with that.
If someone else can mark off in a different color what that would make impossible.
Let's see. I could probably do it in my color.
I
Yeah, that
personally don't
works. It's
understand this
just that
puzzle.
this lets us track possibilities without.
So, oops.
And if you can
maybe I shouldn't
mark
have
off,
done X, but whatever. That bluish.
it works.
thing.
It works because as long as we remember that yellow is definitely no, pink is possible.
It would not work there.
And if you can mark off the top and bottom two of the left side wedge, just to. And this one down here also isn't possible.
Oh, yeah. True.
Okay.
Okay.
Which means that. Okay, no, it doesn't want to go there. I can already tell it doesn't want to go there because one of the red squares we need for this one wants to go there.
Well, we could put a red square here. And then.
No, on the top, one of the red squares we want needs to go here.
True. If you want to.
Because that's the only thing that satisfies the requirements for.
Jamie, the point is there has to be 2 red squares in each yellow triangle, and there can't be a red square. There only has to be 1 red square in each horizontal, vertical, and diagonal line.
Oh, okay, so like a really twisted Sudoku puzzle. Gotcha.
Yes. Which is why I'm doing as well as I am, because I fucking love Sudokus.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Okay,
I tried one time and it was not fun.
Square is not a possibility.
I have
and
my
needs
box
to become
made,
yellow now.
So.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I remember the rules correctly because I think I just got it. I've been doing it on my phone. There needs to be 2 red squares in each yellow thing, and they cannot be in line with each other on any row, diagonal, or column, right?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, let me see. Let me mark these out
even if
real quick to see if.
You could probably take a photo of what you just did on your phone.
Oh, you're right. I could do that.
Or screenshot.
My inclination from here. Oh, that also needs to get marked off, and I don't know why it didn't the first time. So, okay. Well, that means we know that this one down here won't be possible.
I don't see what you're thinking.
I'm just thinking. We know that this one down here won't be possible because the only place that a red square can go that fulfills the previous rules is. Give me a second and I'll fill in the next red square because I know where the next one goes. Which in turn gives.
Yeah, I was thinking that one too.
This one down here. That should be
That
correct.
lines up with the other one. Oh no, never mind. I was gonna say I thought it was.
PK
brain.
has put something in the chat as well.
So that looks like it should be correct.
Yeah, I don't see anything where it's not correct. It's not diagonal anywhere. Yeah, you got it,
Yeah,
I think.
I think that's correct.
It's just process of elimination and spatial reasoning.
Yeah, yeah.
And PK also got it on, just to point that
Yes.
out.
Hell yeah!
I'm very proud of you, PK.
Good job, PK.
Thank you.
Even
And
with your
like in the middle
migraine.
of that, my hands got like super jittery because my migraine drugs are kicking in, but that also means like the caffeine is hit, so I'm like I feel bugs under my skin.
Oh boy.
Ay.
Yikes.
Sorry, that was a bad image, but I did a puzzle, you guys. Sorry, I wasn't listening. I was focused on.
You
No,
did
you did
amazing.
it. You did the puzzle.
I proved my worth, even though it wasn't actually like helpful.
You literally had it written down before Joe had it written down on the thing, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you had it worked out while I was working it out loud.
Yep.
Woohoo! Okay. Fabric.
All right. Which the
now I'm not
image
sure how
ID
we want to flavor that in universe because I don't know if Diona would have been. Although
Diona
she
probably would have wandered over as everyone else did.
Yeah, no,
I-
I don't know if Diona would have been involved, but no, she would have because spatial recognition is pretty okay.
Yeah.
Susanna would have just had a piece of paper out and been working completely silently and separately from the rest of the group, and then like handed it to Vias at like the last
Yeah.
second. And been like,
Vias would have been hovering with the needle, like.
Talia has been distracted this whole time. Like,
Bless them.
Talia is ADHD incarnate. And so
Zoella is
has
also
just been.
distracted.
Yeah, and that's concerning. So it's very possible
Zoella is
Diona was not actually
graffitiing.
helping because Diona was keeping an eye on Talia and Zoella.
Oh goodness.
But Vias, the actual embroidery, once you like figure out what where you're putting it, is pretty quick. It's not very large, so it's just a real.
Bless.
And you follow this sort of stitching pattern that the two other red squares are using, which is it takes you like a second to figure out how she's sort of leaving in like these spaces for where like the gem the gem shards are gonna like be woven in, but you manage to replicate it pretty well, and you get her attention just as she's like finishing up with the other two women, and oh yeah, exactly, good job, thank you, young man, and the rest of you, I guess I'm sticking with Southern.
Yep.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
We're just gonna have a lot of Southern NPCs. It's fine.
Why does this
It's
woman have
all
the same
good.
accent as me if she is a snake in the middle of a lost city? I just do not understand.
Plot twist.
Plot twist.
Corwick is actually from here.
Corwick is
Oh,
Eppley.
no.
Eppley is Corwick.
Oh god.
And she cuts you a pretty large swipe of this like jeweled fabric bias,
Yes.
and also presses 3 of the iridium coin into your hand, Iona.
Okay.
So, about how many
So we
feet
currently
of
have
cloth
8.
is this that we're talking?
It would how much would a Vias have wanted?
Oh god. I mean, as much as he can possibly get his grubby little hands on, probably.
We do have a bag of holding.
Because he has a couple bolts of fabric already, and that's like, oh god, I don't even know how much a bolt of fabric is in feet, but it's a lot.
Well,
Uh,
give us some yardage. Pick some yardage, Parker. Just go for it.
Yeah,
Pick a.
you don't have to
She
give us
gives
too
you
much, because I'm sure it's expensive, so.
she gives you about 9 yards.
Damn.
Nice.
shit.
Hell yeah. Hell
Um,
yeah.
but you notice she has a lot of it.
God's bless.
Susanna
This is
is clearly
beautiful.
not bulking on the whole wearing goddamn full mourning in a jungle, is she?
Yards of dress
Well,
fabric.
she
Bias
is
is
not planning on wearing this. She just wants
Bias is very excited. He's like, I can make so much things from
she
this.
wants the shiny fabric. She thinks it's so
Because
pretty.
I
She
do
is
think Diana actually does want to ask about getting something slightly more climate suitable.
who needs climate suitable when you can just wear 18 layers of fabric on your body and die of heat stroke?
Who needs climate suitable when you're just a naked kenku in a cloak?
Vias, now that you're getting a good look at this fabric, you can tell like that it is sort of more sequined work, but the way that it's woven in, it almost looks like the shards of gem and like have been like crushed into the fabric and are woven in with thread.
Yes.
So it gives this sense of like that there are like threads of like ruby, like they're wove in ruby, like not
Gotcha.
just
Almost
having
like
Okay,
they've
this
been
put
is
the
dyed
ruby
this
in
is
ruby.
out of
afterwards.
character. This is out
Yes.
of character because Diana would not suggest it, but I suddenly have the unholy need for that dress we plan to get Diana to be.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that dress.
She would not suggest it. She would not suggest
Oh, of
it,
course
but
not. Vias would.
I
Yes.
out of character.
Bias
Vias would
did
suggest that.
suggest a like sparkly blue thing for Diana that was like stars.
You know
So
what? Give her just any kind of sparkle. Make her even more eye catching.
hell yes. Big bright
Um,
blue wife.
Wife.
and you're a little bit surprised that this very linen thin fabric can hold this much gem work in it, but it is sturdy and it is good. Like this is fucking
Rad.
like Vias, this is fucking wild.
Yes. He's kind of just like dancing back and forth, very excited.
um Diana, the woman goes, well, of course I can get you something climate suitable. Do you need it to be armored as well? And she's kind of looking down with what armor you still have on.
Uh, if possible, but not necessary.
I can get it. It's fine. Listen, people
Um,
around here, we haven't had much use for armor a long time. I can get a skek down the way to make sure it's all tough.
and if you could make sure that um, and she sort of gestures to not the entire length of the where the girls sit, not the entire because it's over a
Mhm.
handspan, but she sort of does a half handspan. If you can make sure that sort of this amount of fabric on both sides is open, it is not necessarily open, but can be open, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I can do that. Don't you worry. Can I take a few measurements?
Sure.
Uh,
Joe, you said gills, but I heard girls, and I thought Diana was just talking about her boobs. Like, can you make sure this can be opened? Just,
No,
just,
no,
just
she's
make sure
not that.
for purposes, just in case I need to let the girls breathe. I don't know, man.
That is absolutely not what she said. I know we know this, but
Yep, yep. I was like, oh, that's a weird way for Diana to, or for Joe to phrase that. I feel like Diana would just say boobs, but nope, no, it's not even it was talking about gills, not, yep, I'm good.
all right. The tailor woman comes over and she like grabs a few measurements. She doesn't like touch you, but you can see her. She's sort of moving around, and she just it's very quick and efficient. She knows what the fuck she's
yeah.
doing. Um, and she goes, "All right, I can get that done. Fabric in the sort. Hmm, 4 coins. 4 coins.
And I think there's a bit of a look at the party to make sure they don't mind her.
Bias gives
I
you a
mean,
thumbs up.
we could barter if you don't want to.
How many? We got 3 coins from this, right?
We've
And you
got
have
8
8
total at
total,
the moment.
so that'll half you.
Bias just gives a thumbs up. We can get more.
Yep, she's gonna hand over 4 of them. Probably mostly from the ones that we just got.
And she sort of laughs. All right, I can get it by tomorrow.
You don't need to rush. We'll be.
I ain't got much work. Don't worry. Uh, no one here ain't got much work. And she starts just jotting like they're very thick, sort of reed like parchment. Um, she starts jotting down like something in a language you don't know. You presume it's measurements and like notes.
Well, we have a man to find. Maybe we should start looking.
You did get a member of the watch to agree to find you a place to sleep, and that
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
they'd come find you.
Yes.
Just as a reminder.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we do have someone to find, and also it might be worth exploring some.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because I think Talia and Zoella are going, ooh, want to.
Yeah, Talia's in very like ooh shiny.
Yeah. So I think finding Talia something high they can scurry up so they can get a good look.
Oh, Zoella also wants to go somewhere high up. She keeps looking at the tallest building and pointing to it whenever she can.
I don't think we're going to be able to go to that one, but we can find something.
Again, the way this city is built is it's sort of built on itself in that like very like
Yeah.
Venice style, very tall, compact buildings.
Yeah. There's not a lot of land space they have, so they've been kind of building upward.
Yeah, you build up instead of out.
Yeah, no, I get you. I remember.
Okay.
So I think trying to find something that our 2 zoomy bastards can climb up um is a place to start.
Mm.
All right. Do you start just sort of walking streets, or what's up? What do you do?
Yeah.
If
I
we
mean,
can find somewhere to, if we can find someone to ask and just ask about if there's a good lookout point, if there's a good point to sort of see a lot of the city from up high.
I mean, there's folks sort of milling about. You can find 1 or 2 members, like people who are wearing that sort of like city watch like regalia. Um, and they sort of go, if you want to do climbing, I would suggest Westside.
Is there anywhere particular we should avoid if we go west side?
Westside.
Also, if Zoella looks around, can she see any temples or?
Make an investigation check.
I want to look too. Sorry, I'm
All right.
eating cracker.
Please eat.
Mm.
At some point, I will probably go to collect some food myself.
20.
Shit.
Wait,
Investigation?
babe, have you eaten since I?
Yes, I have eaten.
Okay.
I just want to eat before I go drinking.
Oh, that's a two.
which
Yep,
is valid.
Vias,
same.
you see shit.
Vice is distracted by shiny.
Yes, he's holding the fabric up and he's kind of like holding it in front of Susanna, and then he like stops for a second, and then puts it around her shoulders a little bit just to see how it looks.
Susanna loves this. She loves this. She doesn't say anything, but she's having the time of her life.
I mean, if you'll mold it for me for some time, maybe I can make you something nice with this.
Oh, that's so sweet of you to offer, Vias.
Zoella, so there is the large sort of palace structure at the back end of the city. But you see sort of a little bit to the east of that, there is another building that is definitely not quite as high, and in fact only just kind of it's shorter. It's actually shorter than a lot of other buildings. But like you can see hints of it through the streets. Like in that ways, it kind of looks like the streets were built emanating from this like building that you can still see it even though it's shorter.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Hmm.
It's like all roads lead to Rome sort of situation.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Like at
sort
one
of.
time, it was the most important building, and they built everything around it. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Um, and it is not quite step pyramid design, but like sort of has that sort of boxy sort of step like aesthetic with a couple of spires around it. So think of it's like a kind of a weird combination between like the Taj Mahal and a step pyramid.
Hmm.
Um, although on a much smaller scale than either like a traditional step pyramid or the Taj Mahal. um, but it is made out of sparkling like metallic materials. This is still you know why this place was called the City of Gold. Okay?
Mhm.
It might not all be made out of gold, but it in the sun it looks that way.
Yeah, that's cool. How far are we from that exactly? Pretty far, or?
Um, it looks like it would take you, I don't know, 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Again, this was what the city was sort of built around, and it's a lot closer than the palace.
If we pass it, Zoella will point it out, but she won't go out of her way to go there.
Okay. Diana, are you talking to this guard person?
Well, we would have got. Did you say West Side, or did I?
Yeah. You got West
Okay.
Side, and you said, "Was there anything dangerous that we should avoid, like in West Side?" And his response was West Side.
Mhm. Yep.
Which I think it's a bit of a. You know what? That's fair, and we're still going to be going because, and, like, she doesn't say it, but she knows. She knows we're still going to be going because as long as it's not the fucking dragon again.
He
What?
kind of
I
he
think.
sort he as he goes, "Yeah, I can tell you're still going, aren't
Yeah. As long as that's not a place the dragon can get through.
you?" No, the dragon can't get in the walls. The West Side
Okay.
is just it started falling apart, and there wasn't really a reason to rebuild it. So watch out for, sinkholes, bits of flooded areas, crumbling buildings, maybe some big rats, sort of thing.
Yep.
All right,
Thank you for your help.
no problem. Be safe. Um, So are you heading to Westside?
I think so.
West Side Story. Here we go. No. You see a group of Yanji approach you, like snapping. You're a jet.
Oh
No,
man.
no. Oh, we're gonna get sued by so many people for this episode.
Oh.
So
If somehow you are watching this, please do not sue us. It is under fair use. Also, if we're all fucking poor.
What literally just happened? Because I left to go get something to put on my crackers.
Oh, we murdered a man.
Oh my god.
No,
No,
we
No.
we
didn't.
did
I'm
not.
sorry. That was a lie. That was
I
a
know
lie.
you're a
I'm
fucking
sorry.
liar.
we made some West Side Story jokes.
I was literally just gonna be like West Side Story. Because you said
um,
West Side, I'm like, oh no.
um, so you head to the West Side.
We do.
Anyway, you head to the West Side and you see where sort of the populace sort of dies off, and it's kind of getting a bit older. It's still not like ruin decay of like it just kind of looks like the shitty part of town.
Yeah.
The ground's a lot more uneven here. You see there is one corner of like an alleyway street that is sort of like the ground sort of sinks down and is sort of covered in water. You don't know exactly how like deep that goes, but the alleyway stops not too far afterwards, so it's like water to nowhere. It's just kind of a little flooded portion. Um, little skitterings of like vermin. But it's empty, and the buildings are still pretty tall. Um,
Vice, can you send Mercy to do a bit of a scan before we go find somewhere to climb?
Sure. He will nod to Mercy and she will fly off.
okay.
Do a scan.
Mercy up and takes off.
20.
And it very much looks abandoned. Like it looks like the bad side of town that now that now that like the situation of the city has like changed very dramatically isn't really needed anymore. That there's not really like a bad side of town anymore. It's just kind of the part that's been kind of abandoned.
Place that people avoid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
There are some buildings that definitely look pretty unstable, but you find a couple that are very well standing. And Mercy sort of points them out to you.
Yep.
Alright.
It's sort of a row of 3 buildings, kind of built very close to next to each other, like in the same block, like city block.
Alright. Bias will mention this to the group.
Okay. So.
I mean, it doesn't look like anybody's there, so at least that's alright.
So you guys want to go get a look from up high?
Talia nods very excited.
So does Zoella. She's flapping her arms.
Oh.
Do you guys want to come with me, or do you want me to supervise them? To Vias and Susanna, and I assume Lena and Vera,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
And Dylan.
And Dylan.
You know, I think you've got them well under control. If you are stepping forward to supervise, it sounds like you are just extremely capable of this role that you have selected for yourself. And I maybe would not be so capable in that role, and so I defer to your expertise.
In short, she says go ahead, I think.
Go ahead. I'm not going.
Yeah. Diana does give Susanna a look, and you probably should make sure to drink something before you pass out.
I am fine.
I will stay with him.
Susanna, make me a Constitution save.
Motherfucker, really?
I know she just normally talks fast, but Diana interpreting it as a sign of heat stroke is.
Oh
A
no.
natural 20! Oh my god!
I'll
You
have
Susanna
you
is
know
are.
in
that
fact
I am
completely fine.
exceptionally accustomed to dealing with the heat.
Yeah, like, yeah, you're good.
I feel, actually, if I'm honest, I feel the best I've felt in a long time. I think this air is doing something good for me. Susanna looks fucking delighted.
Vice just shakes his head and smiles.
I think Vera would follow Diana, Talia, and Zoella,
Yeah.
just as, like, I guess I'm mom.
Chaperone.
And
And
Dylan will be Russian in the corner.
Stay near
Dylan is
Vice,
not being
'cause
let out of
Vice.
Vias's sight, I
Yeah,
think, because
nope.
this seems like the exact type of place where Dylan could go missing again.
Yeah,
Dylan's just gonna
Vice is
wander off,
not
get
letting
turned
him
into a
wander
statue.
off.
Well,
yeah,
I really do feel like we need a
Dylan,
child leash for Dylan.
Dylan and Lena stay back behind with Bias and Susanna.
Bless.
Black.
It doesn't take too long for you all to find, like, the more stable buildings are actually closer to this side of town than, like, deep into Westside.
Makes sense.
And you find the three buildings that are sort of leaned on each other, that Bias had described to you. And Talia, like, looks at you and, like, points at the building and then points at themselves, like they're so fucking excited they can't.
Yes, you.
They're
What do you
off.
say the
They're
three of
gone.
us climb up and we leave Vera
They're
and
gone.
we ask Vera
They
if
are
she's around
gone.
the ground?
Zola is also gone.
Diana
Talia
just
ain't got
kind
time
of
for this talking bullshit. Talia is out.
just kind of grins and shakes her head and just asks Vera if she minds staying on ground level while.
Oh, I'll also make an acrobatics check. Let's hope this goes well.
Vera shakes her head and says, "That's fine."
Diana is
I
also
hope
gonna
she
head off.
treats your
It's not
children
so
like
straight
this.
like booking it, but there is clearly a bit of excitement though.
Yeah. Make me an acrobatics.
Can I get away with athletics?
Yes.
I
It makes sense. Roll it.
thank you.
Nice.
Our Diana actually gets up there first.
Cause that wife is so fucking strong.
Strong
And
boy.
when Zola's at the top, she'll ask to be on. Well, she'll hold her arms up to be on Diana's shoulders, so she can be extra tall.
Yes, because an extra 7 feet will make all the difference.
Yeah, it
Diana
will.
grumbles, but she absolutely does.
She, instead of clapping, she opens her beak and clapping sounds come out.
Oh my god. I
And
love Zoella
she
so
hammers up.
fucking much.
Yeah,
Come on, cousin.
Kenku are slightly off-putting.
Eh.
I love them.
Yeah, I think she
Talia,
just kind of. Yeah, because 7
Talia
feet will
is
make such a difference. Come on, cousin.
Talia is sort of standing at sort of like the edge of the building and sort of just looking out over this, like, this view of this city, which is just buildings built on buildings. The palace rises up somewhat to your left, and you can see the temple as well. and you can see the walls of the city and the jungle sort of on the outside, but the trees don't come close enough to creep in over the wall, and it's actually kind of beautiful. But you also kind of get the sense of the way the city is kind of laid out.
Yeah.
The temple is still very much sort of in the center, but like a little bit to like center left, as if it used to be the center, and then it kind of the way the city was built, it got a little bit off center, um, as the city sort of expanded, um, and you can see it because of this. Have you ever seen like a map of Paris?
No.
Okay,
Or maybe, but not that I remember.
so the way Paris is set up is it's sort of circular almost, like a spiral with perhaps it's like a spider's web with the temple at the middle,
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
with large sort of main streets like shooting out in like spokes from the temple and smaller sort of side streets connecting them in different places. Um, it's very spider webby.
Yeah.
Um, with the temple sort of in the center of the spider web, and the palace is sort of at the end of one of the spokes. The market street is one of the spokes. The gate to the city is sort of at the end of that one. Um, Westside has like two or three of those very thick spokes like going through it. Um, but Westside only takes up like a small sort of triangular chunk of the city.
Yeah.
And the rest of it looks a lot more populated, a lot more bright, a lot more still well maintained.
Okay. And does anything particular seem to have drawn Talia or Zoella's interest?
Um,
Besides the everything.
Talia
Uh,
is very just like checking everything.
Yeah.
Zoella's just enjoying being up high because Kenku, it's just a Kenku thing. She just relaxed.
Just little Kenku things, lol.
Hashtag just Kenku things.
I'm so sorry. Um, it
Yeah.
is. It's a very nice view, Diana.
I think Talia and Zoella just hear, man, Tavian's not gonna believe any of this. And let's sort of a look at Zoella and just, actually, yeah, he will. It's the very sort of quiet thinking out loud.
She'll just look down at Diana and say, "Yeah, he will."
Um, Talia actually sort of slides out the tub and sort of sits down and like really, really quickly sort of sketches the way the city is laid out. Not with much detail, like there's no like here's a building and here's a building, but like the pattern of the streets
Yeah.
and like the temple marking and the palace marking and the market, but it's a very quick sort of basic information can be filled in
Yeah.
later.
Hey, don't! My cat is
Bias
gonna
and
eat my
Susanna,
headphone.
are you doing anything?
Mm,
Um,
I don't
wander,
really know.
wandering.
Yeah, I feel like we'd kind of like want to stick around where we were before, so they don't like.
Just like within a fairly close radius. But Susanna would say, well, I'm not just going to stand here and wait for them to finish climbing. I intend to take a little bit of a stroll. Won't you accompany?
Sure. I mean, Mercy's
Are you,
happy to stay here, so.
here's an important question. Are you walking further into Westside or out of
Yes.
Westside?
Further into Westside.
Sure,
Oh,
let's
no.
go and start our own West Side story.
Roll me perception checks.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
I think Vias will use Mercy's perception because she sees things better than he does.
Okay.
That's a 23. She can get the good view.
Oof, that was not as good. 13.
Better.
Mercy sort of spots a lot of like small rodent like creatures kind of around and some snakes as well. Um uh, and she's kind of manages to keep you two from like slipping into like ditches or um at one point she alerts you to a bit of like building that's kind of rickety and like looks like it might like a wrong breeze will just send it fucking knocking down.
Oof.
Um, and one of the ditches she sort of guides you around. As you look down to sort of step around it, you notice it's less of a ditch and more of just like this hole that sinks into the dirt.
Oh,
Um,
that's fun.
Oh,
uh,
goodness.
Don't step in that.
and it seems to go down pretty far.
Think the boy fell in here?
Well, if he did, I don't suppose we've got much of a chance of finding him. Damn shame.
I need to roll something for Vias. Hold on. Oh, that wasn't a very good one. Susanna, you see him eye that hole very, very warily.
You alright, sugar?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think it's gonna rise up and eat you.
Oh, let's hope not.
Though I don't know, this is a very strange place.
I've had
I
my
like it though.
I've had
It's
my
very beautiful.
holes.
Hmm.
At least these type. Let's go around.
Would you rather we walk back? Because I think the more we walk this way, the holier it's gonna the holier it's gonna.
Mhm. Well, I can always ask Mercy and see if she sees anything
Because
different.
of the crumbling nature of the establishment, I assume. But then again, I don't know much about architecture. We can walk back if you like.
Yeah, maybe we should be heading that way.
I mean, we don't want the others to have to chase after us and find we've gotten ourselves ensconced down some. I don't even know the terminology for this particular method of
Can
sinkhole. I don't know.
Vias, because he's curious, can he grab like a nearby stone or something and like toss it into the hole? So I'm curious.
Yeah, absolutely. Just sort of like stone hitting stone.
Okay.
Um, it sounds like it falls a pretty decent distance, but it's not endless. You can still hear the as it like skitters across stone.
Nothing comes out of the hole.
Nope.
Well, you'd break something falling down there for sure.
Oh yeah, all of your life, as things happen. Let's keep going.
Keep going, all right?
Not this way. Maybe back.
Okay, back. That's suitable.
That's the way.
And you start to head back. Um, I think Talia finishes their sketch and sort of comes back and looks at you, Diona, and just kind of nods. All right. All right. What
Where
is this place?
where Vias and Susanna are walking, can we see where y'all have climbed up?
Yeah, you can see them on top of the buildings.
Susanna waves.
Vice also waves and Mercy will come fly up to you guys.
Talia waves at you. And I think Joe might be. Yeah, Joe's not here for the moment.
Joe is AFK.
And Zoella's just holding her arms out like she's a bird flying.
I
Bless her.
love Zoella.
She's a sweet baby.
Susanna will, while walking, she'll be like, though I'm doing perfectly fine, I think Diana was right. It is a little warm. So she just takes off her gloves, shoves them in a pocket, and takes the veil off her head as well and puts it in the other. Just because, may as well. And then she keeps walking.
Does Talia see anything interesting from up there?
Let's find out. Do you also want to roll a perception check, darling, dearest?
I don't think she's here.
I was talking to you.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Let's see.
That is a
I just
Oh
give
my god,
people.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
I'm sorry. I call people pet names all of the time. I'm so
It's
sorry.
so
and that is
valid.
adorable.
It is very cute.
It's very good.
Oh.
I say dear a lot to people.
Anywho, Talia, as they come back to Diona to speak, something sort of catches their eye, and then they sort of walk back to the side of the street, like you all climbed up, and sort of like looks down over the building and sort of like tilts their head. Just goes, I saw something. And you see now Vera is kind of like looks up at Talia and like looks down at the building, and she calls back like, "Yeah, I did too."
Uh-oh.
And Talia starts to climb down the building. And I'm going to presume Diona does as well.
Diana
Sounds
just
like
lives
something
there
she would
now.
do.
That sounds like something Diona would do. Climb down at this point.
Seems logical.
And Susanna, Vias, were you heading towards them, or were you just
Yeah, I
staying?
think we were headed back towards them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you get there at about the same time Talia gets to the ground. And they sort of turn, and there is the door. The door. There's a door like for the middle building that's a little bit sort of like eaten away a little bit and sort of swung slightly open. And Talia and Vera are just kind of like looking at the door, look at each other, look at the door.
Susanna draws her gun.
Vias will hold up his staff and cast Shillelagh on it.
So, what?
What's going on?
I thought I saw something. Where no, Scottish. I thought I saw something go in here, and
Talia's southern.
Vera like nods her agreement.
Well,
Oh, so is one of you gonna go in there and check it out then?
Talia like looks at Susanna, like bitch.
Well, it just seemed like you were curious about it.
Vias is going to stalk forward and open the damn door.
Bias, do not.
Vias, you open
back here.
you open the door,
Check
and as
for
the
traps.
sunlight spills into this building, you realize that this building is fairly empty, actually. And as the Joe, we're on the ground now because Talia saw something go in the building you all were standing on.
Okay. I was just like,
And
oh,
Bias is checking it out.
Vias opens the door, and the inside the building it's empty, save for one thing. And the walls are sort of so the floor is like a wooden floor, which is something you've not really seen yet. Um, and sort of the walls also look like sort of like wood on top of stone. Um, and they're painted like child's bedroom with like grass at the bottom and a blue sky sort of rising on like the upper part of the walls. Um, Sort of like faux cheery, but like the paint starting to chip a little bit. Um, and the thing in the center of the room, which you now notice the room is a lot bigger than you thought it would be. Um, the thing in the center of the room looks like a house, sort of like a one-room child's playhouse. Um,
Interesting.
with like a little like pipe chimney coming out the roof, triangle roof, and like a door that looks like Talia would have to like kind of duck their head to get under, but um,
Vias just kind of like looks around a little bit and just says, "Hello."
there is no response.
Mm,
Could it just have been a figment of your imagination?
I mean, does this place look lived in? Like, does it look like there's any signs of?
Talia shakes their head at your question, Susanna. And now that you're noticing Vias, yes, the little pipe chimney has like a little like puffs of smoke coming out of it, almost like in a cartoonish like little like clouds of like fog, like smoke. Um, and there looks to be a light on inside.
Well, we could knock on the door.
That's a terrible idea.
We can just be friendly and introduce ourselves.
Bias, that's a terrible idea. Get back here.
Mm,
Please, please.
why are you so worried?
At least, like, call out to the door from a very reasonable distance.
It looks like this is a place for smaller people. Maybe it's nice.
Lots of small people can do a lot of damage. Have you seen Talia?
I know.
I
I
think
mean,
there's
I'm
a
you're.
very
not
like
nearly as small as Talia. I think that's about the same, you know.
I think Talia kind of looks at you.
I'm sorry, Talia, but you're short.
Uh, I'm not short.
Yeah,
I'm
you are.
actually I'm I'm average height.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Susanna, I
I
think you
didn't
made
mean to
Talia
presume.
mad. That's. Oh no.
You're not short. You are vertically challenged.
Susanna.
Yeah, oh no, just because you're not vertically challenged doesn't mean you. I'm sorry. The point is, I forgot what we were doing. The point is, there are dangerous things that could be in there.
Okay, is it more dangerous than a green dragon?
I mean, probably not. You're right. Go ahead.
Thank you. And I'm going to go to the door and knock on it.
So you knock on the door, and a minute later, it kind of creaks open, and out comes this what looks like a little old woman.
Oh.
Uh, Half your height, Vias,
Oh.
and she's kind of wearing like a very typical pointed hat over like thick brown curls, um, and like a yellow shirt, this like purple sort of like skirt, and Well, hello there.
Hello. We
And
were
she
just.
sort of looks past you, then back up at you and goes, "Oh, I see.
What exactly do you see?
Ah, that's for you to find out now, isn't it? Uh,
Is
I'm
she
Granny Riddleton. What?
Granny Riddle? Oh, see, I was gonna ask her the name. Is she an old Yuan Ti lady or a human? Yuan Ti,
No,
right?
she looks vaguely gnomish.
Oh,
Uh, her name is Granny Riddleton.
Of course
Granny
it is.
Riddleton. Uh, nice to meet you.
You
Uh,
can just call me Granny.
Granny. Well, we're kind of surprised to see people living in this area. Have this been your home for very long?
I've been here. And she sort of like scratches at her head. I've been here a while. Ah, where even is here? And she sort of past you and out the door, and she looks out and goes, "Oh, Eppley. Okay." And she like turns back and goes, "I've been here a while," and heads back and uh, is now just kind of walks back towards her little house.
I love her.
Oh, sorry to bother you. I know we just knocked and whatever, but we're kind of looking for somebody. I don't know. Maybe you might know something about him. His name was it was Max, right? I don't have the exact.
Max
Yeah, it was
Summers, yeah.
Matt.
His name was Max. I think he was he half elf? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have my notes. Okay.
It was half
He
elf.
was a half elf
She kind
man.
of like she kind of like thinks, like sort of scrunches up her nose and thought, and just goes, "Nah, I don't think so. I
Oh,
met a lot of folks. I know a lot, so I don't know." And uh, she kind of puts her hands on her hips and looks up at you. "No, you haven't left any behind yet. You're fine." And sort of goes to like go back into her house.
The heck?
Bias like tilts his head a little bit. Ah. Well, do you know anybody that might be able to help us?
Find your boy? No, but I can help you with other.
What else could you help us with? If you don't mind me
Well,
asking.
of course. If well, I am your well, I am a keeper of puzzles.
Great. I kind of assumed with Riddleton. That must be a fun hobby
It's my job, young man.
job then.
Yes, sir. And my job is to collect all the puzzles you leave behind.
Interesting.
So if you're going along your life and you happen to miss a couple puzzles, or maybe you find one that's just too tough and you have to leave it, and then you want to come back and solve it later, but it's not there anymore. Well, you can find it here. And she points at her house. I keep all of them.
Oh my god. And do you
Oh
solve
my
all these
god.
puzzles?
Part
No, that's for you to do. I
Oh,
just collect them.
interesting. So if somebody were to say come back here for the puzzles to solve them, do you give them anything for it? Or you just give them the puzzle?
Oh, of course. I collect all the rewards too.
Interesting. Well, I don't necessarily think we have any puzzle to leave behind, so aside from the puzzle of finding that boy, so man,
Nope, you ain't got any left behind yet. I'm all alone in this house. But if that changes, you can find me right here.
All right, Granny. Uh, we'll let you know if we have any leftover puzzles.
Thank you, young man. And she heads back into the house.
Oh God.
I
God's banished me from his realm. Jeez, Louise. Ugh. What is it with this place and puzzles? He says as he's walking away.
Not to be rude, but she seemed a most peculiar old woman.
I mean, I've seen plenty of her sort around, but usually they don't go collecting unfinished puzzles.
What does that even mean, unfinished puzzles?
I don't know.
Like, you started a jigsaw one day, and then you just decided not to finish it, and then all of a sudden it turns up in her house.
I don't know. Do we have to come back to give them to her?
Like, and she just seemed like a most peculiar old woman.
Indeed.
And I know she's small, but that house seems awful small.
You know, I kind of agree, but maybe it's bigger on the inside.
Huh.
I mean, there's spells to make interdimensional spaces, you know.
I didn't know that, but that is fascinating. Thank you for telling me.
Oh yeah, I forget some people don't know some magic. I'm sorry.
Susanna doesn't look fascinated at all, for the record.
That's
she never does.
He expects that.
Well, yes, she does when you hand her interesting clockwork or
Very
jewelry.
rarely looks fascinated, and this is not one of those.
Oh bless.
So, the old woman seemingly did not want to kill us or cause us harm.
You know, I don't think very many people want to do that in Italy.
Don't say, is there some wood that we can knock on? My good.
I don't think it's necessary.
You can't just say that people don't want to kill us, because then people will want to kill us.
I mean, what's new, right?
That's fair.
Yeah, I would
I suppose
assume.
the dragon already wants to kill us, so maybe we've fulfilled
I don't think we're
already that
necessarily the
obligation.
dragon's target, but
Well, yeah, but like I assume the dragon wants to kill everyone it meets. It's a dragon, right? Like dragons are just like that, I assume.
there's some that are good. I mean, there's like gold dragons and silver ones.
Right, but this one was green.
Yes, they're the chromat ones. They're not good. Most of them are not good. I don't know of any chromats that are good. So, that one, not good.
Indeed. So, y'all have climbed. We've met this lovely old woman. She raises her voice just a little bit,
Yeah, I
so
think
in
we're
case
leaving as
anybody's
well.
listening, it can be heard. And what shall we do now?
Maybe we should try and find the people that were trying to find, like, look for us for our lodgings.
Oh yeah, that's probably a good idea. I forgot about that.
I never did because I worry about where I'm going to sleep every night.
Oh,
Constantly.
goodness. Well, shall we make our way back to the more populated sector of town in that case?
Vias looks at the group.
Yeah. Dana kind of gives Vias a little bit of a slightly concerned side eye.
Vias gives his brightest, most fake smile he can.
Oh,
Oh, oh,
What now?
oh.
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 Um, so I presume you're heading back to Market Street.
Yeehaw.
Yeah.
You head back to Market Street, and it's starting to sort of die down now. It's starting to get kind of late, and you it's not hard to find the watch captain or the watch person again. Uh, which I don't. I wouldn't hope that somebody remembered their name.
Nope. I don't think I really.
Hold
I
on.
think
Oh,
you
I had it written
did.
down, but it's not in my
I
freaking
have it
notepad
written
back
down. Let me
here.
flip through my fucking note.
Oh wait, no, I have my notes in this one. I'm an idiot. I'm a complete nincompoop. My notes. It's in this one. I forgot I changed notebooks.
All my notes are
Guard name
just
is
voice line.
Cask. No, that's the title. Igre, right? The guard lady?
Igre. Yes, that
Igre.
sounds right.
Cask
Igre.
Igre.
It is Igre.
They, them.
Yes. I
Tusk
just found
Igre. Yes.
my page.
My writing is just awful.
Mood.
Tusk
God.
Igre. Tusk Igre sort of knows you, and she sort of puts one hand in the air to wave you down, and goes, "Well, I managed to find some lodgings on the east side of town.
Well, my goodness, thank you ever so much.
Yes, that's lovely. Thank you.
She nods and they motion for you to follow. Uh,
Yep.
and they start to lead you through the city. Um, and again, it's starting to sort of wind down, so you see people mostly returning to home, spending time with family, that sort of thing. But she leads you into the east side and eventually stops by a particularly tall building. Um, and she knocks on the door, and a Yanti man, sort of an older Yanti man, pokes his head out, very snake-like, um, and sort of the tongue flicks out, and these are the guests. And Taskigure sort of nods, and everyone, this is Ralisk. Uh, he has graciously allowed some you to use his upper floors to live in for the moment.
We thank you ever so much for your generosity, sir.
Thank you.
He nods and just goes, yeah, come in. And motion and sort of steps back from the door and motions you to come inside.
What was the
Does
space
he
you're staying at
seem
again? Was it a house or a.
It's a very tall house.
Okay.
does he seem exasperated at having to lodge us?
Roll an
Like, is
insight
that
check.
Yeah, I'm
I would
gonna.
like to know as well. I mean, I kind of get that, but.
oof?
How do I roll bad with insight every fucking time? I have a +5 on insight. God.
Um, Susanna and Vias, you're not quite sure. Diana, you get more the sense his like, yeah, that he's a bit embarrassed. Like he doesn't. The fact that you thanked him managed to sort of make him a little bit flustery and embarrassed,
Oh.
Oh,
rather than that he's upset about having to put you up.
Well, alrighty dighty.
Finally, someone who doesn't fucking hate our guts.
For now.
To be fair, no one in this city has actually hated our guts yet.
That's
Yet.
true. Against all reason.
I mean, we haven't done
we
anything
aren't that
bad.
bad.
Yeah, we help people so far.
Um, he sort of
I
his
love
house
this
is
so far.
So far,
his
and
house
trespass.
his house is very thin. Um, and he like leads you back down this hallway, and he leads you up a flight of stairs, um, and then another flight of stairs. um, and he sort of motions and goes, "Third floor is yours."
Uh, Thank you for the.
He nods. and sort of just pushes. It's a very thin hallway, so it's kind of a struggle for him to like slip past you all, but he manages to get and then down the stairs.
Do let us know if there's anything we can do for you, sir.
You just get like this in response.
Alrighty then.
Is that a noise or a?
It gets
That's-
it feels like it's a word in a language you don't know.
Good
Yeah,
times.
because none of us speak snake person.
I can't imagine why none of
Unfortunately.
us would
Oh, God.
speak snake person.
I mean, if I was my other character, I would have comprehend languages, but I can't.
That's just suck.
Damn it. Vice is just an ignorant.
So what's
fool.
the situation? What's the floor plan here? What do we have to work?
You have 4 rooms.
4 rooms. There's 8 of us. Perfect.
You can do 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. They're very small rooms. There's not a lot of space.
Well,
That works.
I guess Vias will choose to room with Dylan. I don't know. That's kind of what's been going on lately.
That's gay of him.
That is awfully gay of him.
But that's what's been happening.
Just gonna point it out. That is gay.
Progress.
Talia will just add Diona.
Yeah, I figured.
Otherwise,
I
Vias
do
is
have-
fine rooming with Zoella.
You can just room with Dylan. We're just making fun of you because it's gay.
know. I'm just saying I don't want Zoella to be by herself either.
Well, if it's
With
2
someone
and
that she's
2
not
and 2 and
comfortable.
2, I mean, she's not comfortable with anyone. I think the only person who's not uncomfortable with her is Talia.
Yeah.
And
That's because
Talia's already.
Oh bless.
Lena
Alright,
and
Dylan,
Vera.
you're with me.
Lena and Vera kind of look at each other and then look at Susanna and then down at Zoella and then at Susanna again.
Who's taking who?
Zoella. Want a room with me?
Zoella. She just nods,
Alright.
makes quiet gunshot sounds.
Okay, and let's be very clear, you are not to wake me up with any variant of that noise, any bird noises, or frankly, just don't wake me.
Frankly, just don't wake me. She nods.
Exactly. Alright. She turns to Lena and Vera and is like, you ladies have a lovely sleep, I suppose.
Lena and Vera nod and head into their room.
Good night.
Good night indeed.
I take it it's squishy at best for Diana.
Yes.
Yeah, that's about what I figured.
Can Zoella carve something on one of the bedposts?
She better not.
Totally can't.
I mean, she physically can. Whether or not Susanna will allow this to happen.
Zoella.
23 sleight of hand.
Oh my god.
Shall I roll perception?
Yes.
Roll high. I want you to catch her. No.
Nope.
So what Zola's gonna carve is, to you guys it would be familiar, but your characters might not be. It's a little arched pathway with a path heading up it and little spheres just surrounding the path. It is the traveler symbol.
Oh. Baby girl.
Oh boy.
I love her so much.
Susanna's just like undressing this whole time, and it takes her the whole time that Zoella is carving to finish getting all her layers off because she's got 8 million.
She's got like 20 petticoats.
Yep, she just keeps layer by layer it all, just one at a time.
Vias is changing into his sleepwear and probably like setting up an area to do some embroidery because he's inspired now.
When Susanna eventually reaches the end of all her various and sundry layers, she'll turn to Zoella and say, "Now, mind you behave now and respect the space, because it's very generous of that gentleman to let us stay here. So don't go messing with anything."
She smiles. I'm gonna make a deception check when.
Oh my god.
God.
Nope.
Damn,
Zoella seems very innocent.
that little bastard.
If she could smile, she would.
I love
Oof.
her.
She probably shouldn't try though, because
Yeah.
Diana, I think you get like the most excited, weird info dump of all of the things that you saw today.
yeah.
As Talia is scrolling as much as they.
It's not as if Diana's going to object to Talia.
That's gay. Anyway.
Oh.
No, that's only gay because of me and Joe and how our relationship works.
Yes, that is quite gay.
God,
Y'all
Um,
are gay.
we
we
are.
are.
Why
Yeah, we knew that. I'm glad you're on this page with us.
I'm glad too.
And the night passes.
Guys, wait, did you realize that the chat right now is all of us in relationships with each other? We've got
Yeah.
3 couples going right now.
Nice.
Massive gay.
I'm so proud of how
Ultimate
gay
gay.
this is right now.
It's good. The only thing that would be oh, never mind. I can't say that right now.
Oh,
I'll send it to you, to you, PK.
bless.
Oh boy.
Suspicionized. Anyway. You wake up in the morning as the sun comes through windows, and it's early as fuck. But
How early?
7.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay. If you were gonna say it was like 4 or something.
No, it's 7, which is still early as fuck.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's not like repulsively early, it's just disgustingly early.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And if you head downstairs, Ralisk has made you all breakfast.
Oh. Risk made us breakfast.
He did. And
Oh.
pretty much as soon as some of you start coming down, he like points it out and disappears upstairs.
Thank you.
Susanna will be the last downstairs because she needs to put all her fucking clothes back on.
Oh yeah, I have to also reset my character sheet because I had stuff missing. There we go.
You know, I'm starting to think we should just get Susanna. Not necessarily glamored studded leather, but something that can just like change outfits.
Oh.
That would be nice. Unfortunately, we do things the old-fashioned way.
For now.
One face at a time.
Plus, even then, I think Susanna would want to wear all the fancy clothes because she would probably feel out of place without them.
She needs all her layers. It's her safety.
Yeah,
like
it is.
Like
It's literally her armor.
I know that's.
Excuse me, this is my emotional support
My emotional
dress.
support corset.
Yeah.
Excuse me, this is my emotional support full morning.
Yeah, exactly.
In more ways than one.
Yep.
God knows she needs something to support those emotions.
She's got bias.
She is structurally stable. I don't know what you're talking about. She's fine.
Uh-huh.
And it's not long into breakfast that there's a knock on the door, and Trask Igre sort of sticks their head in. Good morning.
Good morning.
You're all up. Good. So we sort of spent quite a bit of time figuring out what we wanted to do about you all, legally speaking.
Yes.
Okay.
And well, we can't. It's You're more than welcome to stay, of course. We're not going to kick you out, obviously. That's a death sentence. But if you wouldn't mind, um, the monarchy would like to meet you.
The monarchy.
Oh,
Yes.
I mean that's fair. We don't really know how the judicial system here works. I think that would be fine if we're being
Meet us
civil.
in what sense? Like, just a quick little introduction, or how are we speaking?
Uh, Introductions. A bit of an inventory taking. That sounds quite bad. Just what skills you have, what
I see. I understand
Like
now.
a census almost.
sort of. We went through a bunch of old laws about immigration and things. Um, so we're trying to stick to what used to be done as best as possible. That sort of department kind of got phased out, but uh, the queen or king can sort of do it themselves.
Well, all right then. What time are we meant to be meeting? Immediately? Right away, or?
If now doesn't work, there's not the rest. Any time today is all right.
I mean, if you give us maybe a minute, we could probably change into something more appropriate to meet a monarchy.
Uh, take your time. There's a lot of open time, and
Well, all
I'll wait on the street.
Okay.
They step outside.
okay.
And the
Okay.
palace is the biggest building, right, Parker?
Yes.
Did Diana's clothes for her birthday get finished?
I don't think we would have left without them, so.
Yeah, I think that.
Because we got them like we ordered them like 4 days before her birthday, and we left like
Yeah.
after her
You would
birthday.
have them. You would have them. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I had
Diana, it is
I
a
had
good thing
thought in
we
my
had
head that
those
we
things
got them
made up.
before. So. Vias is definitely gonna wear that skirt thing that Susanna got him.
Excellent. Not exactly how appropriate that is for royalty, but you know what? I support you.
Well, he has a good like shirt thing to go with it, like a blouse kind of
He
thing.
does.
Please
Very
describe
pretty.
the skirt thing.
Oh God, isn't it I don't know what color you chose for it. Was
I
it
believe it was black. I think it was
was it
just,
black?
or maybe it was. Let me see. Let me look. Hold on, y'all.
Cause
Sorry to hold up the proceedings.
yeah, I don't remember exactly, but that was like ages ago that you sent that to me. But I'm pretty sure it's black because it would go with anything really. Um, and I think
Yeah, it was black.
and I
Like
think
the
he had
shirt was green, and the tight skirt was
It's like a black pencil skirt kind of thing, right?
Pencil skirt with a slit up the leg, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
the blouse is sort of like a satin, like off the shoulder kind of affair. It's very pretty. He looks quite nice in it.
Good.
Matches his hair in a nice way. And he's probably like braided half of it and tied it up best he can.
I'm so sorry I keep throwing nobles at you, but I
Zoella is a bird that doesn't have clothes, so she just puts her hood up.
We can just like smooth her feathers, preen them for her.
Honey, would you like a shawl or something? Like you could.
You could wear my
I don't
cloak,
know if that would look.
my
She
nice
just
white one.
points to she just points to her scar to her kind of cape thing because it's sort of like a shawl, sort of.
I mean, I know, but like my shawl's a little bit nicer. Nothing against your cloak. Love the cloak.
She just shrugs and wears your shawl.
All right, it's like black and lace and nice.
Now she looks even more like a death symbol. Thank you.
Bless
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
Oh.
Talia isn't paying much attention, but then again, they're not. They're still in like nose deep in the tone.
Are they used to Zoella yet? Like,
There's a hesitance, but they're not as like gonna immediately just fucking flip their shit.
I feel like they're more
bless.
interested in Eppley right now.
Yes,
That's
Yeah, I
fine.
think Eppley has just kind of.
And now we get to see the
absorbed their
palace.
soul. Yes.
Palace.
Yeah.
While Diona is getting dressed in her suit, Susanna will be there and be like, Diona, do you think it would be most appropriate if I wore my veil for a meeting like this, or do you think? Because I'm not sure that anybody here follows those customs necessarily.
It might be best to not wear your veil in the sake of. Uh,
Do you think it would be seen as like disrespectful? Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
possibly, or like you were trying to keep secrets.
Oh, you're right. Okay, no, that.
Are you comfortable with that, or do we have to make other arrangements?
I'm not sure what other arrangements we would make. It's not as if we can just vanish my whole face, but no, I'm fine with it. She puts one glove on and leaves the other one off.
I take it the right glove?
The right glove is on.
Yep.
And if you're ready, Traskitare is waiting outside and join them whenever you want.
I think we good.
Yeah.
Yep, I think.
As you join them, they sort of look over and just nod and start to head up. It's on a side street until you find one of the very main street sort of spokes, and then they lead you kind of towards the temple and around and back towards the palace, which is gated, but they easily just sort of step through with you behind. Um, there's a couple of guards, but they don't seem perturbed as like that Ikure is with you. Um, and they lead you up into this very tall, multi-spired building um, that uh, in is again that glimmering color. It's very opulent, and the front gates are opened by a couple of Yanti are still also dressed in sort of guard uniform, but this one looks a lot bit more ceremonial. Um, inside is very nice. Like I'm talking nicer than Charlie's place. Nice.
Nice.
This
Not
is it's
overly surprising considering, City of Gold.
um, gold and like gemstones, and the walls are painted like in like fresco mural depicting what probably look like mythological stories. Um, and you notice this one figure that sort of resembles the statue that you had fought the ghosts around, um, appearing over and over again in these murals, um, doing various things, fighting off various forces, bestowing gifts, um, very godlike sort of um, depiction. Uh, and they lead you down these hallways until you are in a very large sort of like throne room chamber, at the end of which are two thrones, um, one of which is coated in sort of a red leather plush. Yes, I'm gonna head upstairs.
Uh,
Um, sort of a red leather plush, and the other is like a deep. And on the deep purple is a woman, a Yanti woman, with this sort of silver, like sort of braided crown tiara thing on her head, and she is dressed in this long, beautiful, sort of gem woven uh, dress. She's a bit more humanoid than she is Snake Lady, and she looks down at you and she smiles. And Trotsky guy just sort of gives a little bow and steps back towards the door.
Um, Vias will bow as well.
Susanna will
Greeting.
curtsy.
Zoella will also curtsy, even though she doesn't have a skirt.
Diana gives a bow as well.
Talia follows suit. Um, and she sort of she just one hand sort of reaches out like they're very well manicured sort of fingernails, just sort of motions you all to stand straight. Well, you all certainly look as unique as I was told. No offense.
None taken.
And she kind of just sort of over. Well, your names?
Uh,
I am Susanna Crow.
I'm Vias.
She and beside her, another sort of Yanti, sort of looking like looks like nice looking, but not overtly. Just sort of smart. Sort of steps forward and has like a piece of scroll parchment, and immediately sort of takes down your name and starts writing.
Vias will do another bow, this time a little bit shorter, and just say, Vias del Tari. It is an honor to meet your acquaintance.
She smiles.
Zoella will point to herself and say, Zoella.
By the way, when she smiles, like the bit of like toothy fang sort of pokes out of her mouth.
Oh, I love that.
Right.
Teeth are great.
Oh,
Dare I say, wife?
Yes. Teeth, you say?
yeah, I think throughout this entire, especially after the initial look, whoever's standing nearest Diana,
Uh-oh.
kind of notices her just. She's not saying anything, but there's a little bit of just.
She radiating some gay there.
Yes,
Good.
There's a
it's
little
very
bit of a
flustered
gay,
Big gay energy.
big gay energy. Diana, you can't fuck the Queen of Eppley. I'm sorry.
No.
I know she
Romance
knows
the
that,
Queen
but
of Eppley,
also.
do it. Sure, the king won't mind.
Oh, yeah, let's get ourselves executed 2 days into being here.
She can always be the courtesan.
They were offered their
All right.
uh, D- Derna, and this is Ansel.
bad thing.
Parker, you're a little bit broken up and like quiet when you were talking. I don't know if that's just me. Is that
Better?
yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, Parker's headphones are throwing a shit fit.
Ah, I see.
Damn.
Apologies about that.
It's okay.
But she nods, and the scribe next to her is just paying attention in that, like, paying attention to what's being said for scribe reasons, but not, like, clued into the conversation. If that makes sense. They're so busy on, like,
Yeah.
getting everything down that they're not paying much attention. It's excellent to meet all of you. I, uh, well, welcome to, welcome to my city. My name is, I am,
What was her name?
hold on.
You
I
cut
need to
out a
find
little bit.
her, I need,
Okay.
no, I need
Yes.
to find her name. I need to
Okay.
find her name.
This
Oh,
is DM buffering pause as Parker tries to find.
Okay.
It's panic hours.
Where is it in my notes? I can't find it.
Her name is
Uh,
Queen Lady.
Queen wife?
Queen
Queen
Wife.
Wife.
Wow,
um,
I love Queen Wife.
my name is Queen Rahelza II.
Can you type that out for us, please, in chat at some point? So I can get the correct
Yeah, I
spelling.
can do that.
A
God,
bitch cannot spell.
Rahelza II.
Rechesa, okay.
Dankeschön.
Danke.
Oh.
Okay. Okay.
My husband has been called away on a bit of other business. So it'll just be us for the moment, if that's all right.
Of course.
Oh, of course.
Excellent. She sort of there's a piece of parchment in her lap, and she sort of picks it up and sort of looks at it. Um, a lot of this doesn't apply much anymore. Where are you coming from?
Many places.
In the most recent sense, or like where is our home area? Because we all come from different places, but we all came from Kessberg, which is right outside the jungle. Most recently.
She nods and goes, I'll need your original nationality, just for records.
All right. Well, I am from Corwick, which is here in Teldore, somewhat to the east.
Vias will raise his hand. I'm Vias from Haven Market. It's not a place you can find, but Godspeed if you're willing to try.
She sort of gives you a little bit of a look at that, but then sort of motions for the next one to speak. And Vera and Lena will provide their particular information.
Bless.
Um, Adana kind of gives a. I think technically I'm on Teldori. I definitely Teldori, but I don't know. I don't know if I actually have officially anymore.
She kind of waves a hand and goes, "The nation is fine. I don't think we're going to have any foreign powers knocking down our doors looking for you at any point soon."
I should certainly hope not.
Well, honestly, I kind of hope we do. Maybe they would, presumably if we're having diplomats arrive, the dragon is taken care of.
That would make sense. In which case, I do hope that somebody comes a look.
I mean, and it's part of the question. If there's anything you should declare in terms of unfortunate pieces of your background, but then again, I don't really think it matters much. You're kind of stuck here no matter what we do. So, a lot of it just doesn't apply. And the scribe kind of, my lady, and she goes, "Yeah, I'll get the information if we really need it, but it's not all that important." Um,
Oh, she's still waiting for all of our countries of origin.
yes.
Oh, okay. Since Zola can't speak, she'll just write it and just say, Pyrago, Marquette.
Okay. Talia kind of like, not here. And
Ansel is complicated. Um, we met Ansel after they came through a portal. It was. We don't have anything definitive.
oh, all right. And she kind of looks over at the scribe, who just kind of shrugs. You get the sense that this court is like less proper and noble and like perfectly respectful.
And more following protocol because it's what they have to work off of.
Yeah. And she asks you a few more questions, sort of like age, which again Talia kind of goes, and eventually after enough questions that Talia just kind of goes, about, she just like, okay, all right, sure. Make things up, I guess, to the scribe. And the scribe just kind of shrugs. Like age,
I assume we can explain some concept as best as possible, but others are just like,
yeah. Sort of the general sort of like immigration questions. I don't know. Again, a lot of it she just kind of seems like vaguely uninterested in, like it's just protocol. She asks you kind of like what your skill sets are, what you can sort of do in terms of work. And it was sort of with the end of that, she kind of goes, and partial explorers, adventurers, some sort.
Yes. I mean, we can travel places and we can fight things, so I'm not sure how useful of a skill set that is. We did put some sort of a dent on the dragon, I must admit, but
I mean,
in
if we
any
were
case,
fully
yeah.
rested, it might have been better.
It's true, we'd been traveling some days and it was quite exhausting, so.
I
So
mean,
I'm not
I
keen
don't.
to immediately
I'm
attempt
good
a
with my
second.
hands. I can craft things. What a group of many talents.
As you kind of are like, we did put a dent in the dragon, she kind of like, puts the paper down again and sort of looks over all of you. Sort of a different sort of look in her eye.
What sort of a look?
Sort of like a, okay, make an insight check.
I would like to as well.
Yeah, because I
Me
have an
too.
awful suspicion I know why you were expecting me to call you out.
That's a 9. God damn it, Bias. Roll better for insight. Jesus. He's never. Oh my
Okay,
god.
can we just
Rip
talk about the fact Diona does not have insight proficiency and
lie.
she's consistently good at it?
Yeah, what
That's
the
true.
fuck?
Diana is way better than Bias at insight,
I don't
which maybe
understand.
just says
Oh
something
my
about the
god.
character.
2 natural ones.
It makes sense that Talia wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense that Susanna rolls well for this shit.
Yeah, she's good at that.
The look is kind of like she's considering an opportunity she's never considered before.
Oh,
Ooh. I like the sound of that.
we're gonna die.
And she, well, we have crafts people and sorts that all kind of do all the things that you're good at, which I'm sure you're very good, don't get me wrong, but
It's
you
not
know,
necessary.
it's not necessary. We don't need 5 tailors. It's just kind of the end of the sentence. We can barely support 4 with the economy.
And as a note, my lady, we don't really plan to stay here, so
I
whatever
don't,
you need help with,
I
you
don't,
can probably.
I'm sorry, but you might be stuck here.
So Ella's gonna write on the piece on her notebook. Do you have weapons or armor that we could borrow to kill the dragon?
And as she sort of looks at it, she goes, well, I think you might have jumped to, well, oh god, it's a complicated issue, the dragon.
Well, unless you have other appointments, I'm sure we are all ready and eager to hear the nuances of said complicated issue.
She sort of like has her mouth and jaw sort of in her hand, and she's sort of looking over all of you again, and just the dragon, Cheval is what her name is, Cheval. She was she was once our very loyal protector. She stood guard against all sorts of outcoming and encroachments. It's the reason the city stood for so long, city in the jungle. And then something happened 200 years ago, and we're not sure. And she started turning on us as well, not letting anything in or out. And we don't know why. And we don't.
I mean, you can
We
ask
spent a
us
long.
for help.
Hmm?
You can ask us for help, you know.
Did
I
something
was.
maybe?
Hmm?
Did something happen or change before she
I.
started?
There was. We had. Um, I mean, nothing out of the ordinary. There was a small scuffle of some sort. I'm not sure exactly. The record doesn't say much, but a scuffle she was involved in, and she took some sort of hit that she just started attacking anything that moved. And so, I mean, yes, we can kill her, but there's lots of us who don't want to. I think there's maybe just
A reason something
You'd
happened?
prefer us to figure out what happened and try and fix it,
I mean,
if it's possible.
if it's possible, I don't want to send you out to deal with Cheval. We've lost many, many people trying to do it. It's part of the reason our population is so low. I was more going to just ask you to, well, if you could restore the river, actually.
The river.
You know, that was
Yes.
actually something we were gonna try and figure out, cause
The lovely folk in Kessburg asked us the very same thing. Do tell us, what's the deal with the river?
We don't know. The source of the blockage is outside the city walls. We don't, and we can't get out there.
Of course.
do you know where
So we're
outside
going to
of
have to
the
cross Cheval
walls?
again or figure out what the problem was.
I mean, again, this is, it's, you don't have to take the, I'm not, if you're lucky and you move fast enough, you might be able to get there and back without her noticing that you've left the city. She tends to patrol most of the jungle, so you could get lucky and she's on the opposite side.
I mean, we could somehow do a distraction or something. Um, I mean, we kind of. I mean, I wanted to come and figure out what was going on with the damn river. I mean, their crops in Eppley are not Eppley.
Kessburg.
Kessberg were
Kessburg
not.
is experiencing significant difficulties to do with the river. I'm sure you all are as well. And
She
quite
nods.
frankly, I don't see that we can be useful necessarily any other way. And it wouldn't do for us to stay here without being useful. So, as for my part, I say our services are at your command. My companions can obviously disagree should they wish, but
I don't see a reason not to help.
If we're able to help, then
We can
it's only right that we
provide
try to.
some assistance. We don't tend to make many weapons anymore, but I'm sure if you give a couple of days.
of course.
Do we need
That's the
much in the way of
project I'd
weapons
like to
beyond what we
work on.
already have?
Well, if we'd be taking a couple of days anyway, I have a little project that might be beneficial. But of course, we don't have to wait. I don't have to do that.
I mean, I'm interested to know what you're planning on doing, but
We'll see.
It might actually be best to wait because it's possible Cheval will be expecting us to try and make a run for it.
Right. So delay. Let her calm down a little bit. Relax. Get some beauty sleep, maybe.
that would be nice to have a couple days off, you know.
Oh, I was speaking about the dragon getting her beauty sleep, but you can also get yours too if you'd like, sugar.
I mean, I wouldn't say no.
Susanna then remembers that we are in the room with the queen and that this is inappropriate behavior.
She
sorry.
she kind of has like a behind her hands, and you can see she's kind of giggling a little bit.
Oh, bless her.
I'm so sorry, ma'am. I quite forgot where I was.
We're not
Susanna, I
all
don't.
that.
Susanna, I don't think we need to be holding on ceremony.
What? It's not. It's respectful, Town.
Vice just
We
laughed.
haven't had much way of ceremony for many years.
I find that a little bit sad, but I mean, if it's fine with
You'll
you.
have to pardon me, miss. It's, my first time meeting royalty of any types.
Mhm.
And again, great honor to be of service to you in any way, shape, or form should we manage to pull this off successfully, which is, of course, not a guarantee.
We can do our best.
That's all I can ask.
We sure can.
Try not to get yourselves killed.
I think we're kind
We've
of
made
out to
every
kill.
effort.
We've survived this far.
There is one thing I'm very good at, it is not getting killed. And also shooting things. But that
She kind of. You don't look like an archer. I'm sorry. You don't. I mean, I just meant you don't have.
Oh no, that's because I'm not an oh my goodness. 400 years. You have oh my goodness. There you've never seen a gun before, have you?
She sort of tilts her head.
Susanna looks so fucking excited right now. She pulls out her gun and she strolls right up to the queen and she like holds it out and she's like, this little thing can do so much damage.
She sort of leans down and she sort of gives you a look like, "Can I touch it?"
Of course, just don't here. She points out the safety and the trigger. Don't touch those two things and you'll be perfectly fine. It uses black powder explosives and it shoots things at a very high velocity.
She
And
nods and she sort of picks it up like two fingers holding sort of the muzzle, and like
Susanna like has her hands hovered beneath it so that it doesn't drop and accidentally go off. And she pulls out one of the bullets from her pocket. She pulls out a bullet from her pocket and holds it up and she says, it fires one of these little things. Well, it fires quite a few of these little things very fast. And it hits something with a lot of force. And it hurts things pretty bad.
she's kind of fascinated, actually.
Susanna is so fucking happy right now. She pulls out her palm pistol as well, and they also come in a smaller version.
She's kind of like holding your gun and sort of turning it over, like making sure not to touch the parts you told her not to touch, but like turning it over and like looking, like examining it, like as like and she asks you if she can like hold the bullet as well.
Yes, Susanna will let her hold anything she would like to hold, just being, conscious of safety. And then she shows her how one would actually hold the gun, if one was shooting it. And I would
Like
demonstrate, but it makes quite a loud noise, and I don't have anything to aim at, with the exception of my companions here. And I did promise that I wouldn't shoot.
Vias kind of like whisper talks, and he says, "Just don't look down the barrel of the gun. That's like a no-no, as well.
Oh
Even
yeah,
if
that's
it's
where the
safety
bullet comes.
zone."
She very dutifully listens to your instructions.
Vias visibly relaxes.
It's only been about, oh, I don't know, 50 years, 50 years? I don't know. I wasn't born when they were invented, but they're sort of becoming a more popular technology. This one's
Well,
a
we
little
know.
bit higher powered than anything you might find in a typical setting, but
Well, we know explosions. You sort of have to. as minors, but
Yeah,
this
it's
is
just a real focused
incredible.
little explosion. It's all the bang in a very small space,
She's just like, this is incredible.
isn't it? I just adore guns.
And she giggles and kind of smiles up at you again.
Susanna's delighted. She's just like, yes, somebody's
Someone-
interested.
Um,
Plus,
at some point, she does hand you it back and just, okay, all right. It was excellent to meet all of you. I suppose you can tell tell you can tell shit.
That motherfucker.
Oh, you can tell Crit if you what you need or what you want provided for you. I should probably check on my husband.
That sounds quite important. You go off and do that then.
Vice will give
She
her a back
smi-
bow.
she smiles again, and she sort of gets up off her throne and disappears down a doorway opposite from where you came in. And the scribe Crit steps forward and just okay.
Well, she was ever so lovely.
The good lady is very kind. Yes.
Scribe's name is Crit. All right.
KRIT.
Thank you.
Crit roll.
Crit.
Crit roll.
And he will take any material orders you have.
Oh boy.
I don't suppose you do have any quantities of black powder lying around.
I might be able to get you some.
All right, just if it's possible, could be useful, but definitely no pressure in the slightest. Don't.
He nods.
Um,
I can't think of anything that's.
I don't have anything that could be useful for like battle stuff.
Wait, do you think would they have like access to the sorts of metals and shit Susanna needs for her bullets?
I think all you
What
need
does
for
she
those
need?
are iron.
I don't know. I don't remember what we said she needed. Some
pretty
kind of
sure
metal and some other
iron.
kind of metal. I'm
Generally, I think we
lead
initially
question
established.
mark.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think we initially established she is Bloodshot, but she might not.
I feel like we used something different the second time she made bullets. Anyway, Susanna, like it's either lead or something. I don't know, iron or some shit. I don't know, some kind of basic metal.
Mm.
Presumably, she can get some
Yeah.
metal, and she's got the skill to be able to.
Whatever
she
you
can-
ask, whatever you ask for, he is going to sort of grab another piece of paper, scrawl some things down, rip it off, and hand it to you. And you notice it's like a little waiver.
I think if
I love that.
if he's taking orders of us like getting stuff, Vias
Can I get
will.
one that says I can do what I want?
No.
Yes.
No, he very solidly refused to do that.
She does not ask for it, I promise.
Vias would like to request, like if they have like portable looms or anything of the sort.
He sort of okay, and he's handing you like little waivers with like little address, like the places you can get them with the
Okay.
quantities you've asked for, as
Yes.
kind of like these are royal waivers.
Oh bless.
Yeah, these are.
This is the royal house will pay for this soon. just give it now.
Oh my
I
god.
Like-
love
So
that.
we could
so
do this
much.
anywhere, or
He's giving you very specific art.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I don't think Diana needs or particularly wants anything. She's not. She trusts you guys to do ranged.
I'll let you guys think about what you want, and you can send those to me.
Yeah.
Poison.
Excellent. Thank you.
Do the Yuan-Ti have poison?
Yeah,
Uh,
Yonti.
yeah,
I know.
they're Yanti.
Do they have poison that they can spare?
He says yes.
You gonna
We
try and
can
poison a poison dragon?
No, it's just for future usage to put on her weapons.
Oh, I'm so happy Lance is cuddling with me right now.
He's so soft.
Sorry.
And when you give these orders, eventually, he sort of rolls up what paper he has left and motions to Igre, who takes you back out and onto the city streets. And Igre kind of goes, "Well, that went very well."
Bias just nods. I mean, that was
I,
beautiful.
I would say that it did.
I mean,
Um,
I would say that Haven's about similar with opulence, but not in that sense. Goodness.
Bias?
Well, yeah,
Never mind.
yes.
No.
Yeah, Igre kind of gives like a little look that's like slightly offended.
No, no, not the same. I mean, it's more like if you think church, but much church. Oh God, how do I?
Now there's just confusion.
This city is marvelous, lovely, and the most beautiful place I have ever seen. Let's leave it at that. Bias, your home is lovely too, but I haven't seen it, so I can't.
I mean, it's
Uh,
not
And
as
you should also
beautiful,
not speak
so-
on it.
Thank you. And as halfway through their thank you, you suddenly hear this. It's loud. It is this very loud scraping noise that sort of echoes down this street towards you, and you sort of look over to where it's coming from, and you see here where the main gate of the city is creaking open, and a set of figures slips inside, and then the door shuts again.
Is it those motherfuckers? Is it those motherfuckers?
You're very far away.
Vias
Those
is
motherfuckers, and I
running,
know it.
and he's sending Mercy off in that direction.
Igre kind of looks at all of you and then takes off in that direction.
I mean, Vias is already running.
Susanna will follow because she doesn't like those motherfuckers, and she's sure that it's them.
Mercy
What
can
did
move
they do to
60
piss you off?
fly, I think.
I'm pissed off by everybody.
They were not the best
were
of
rude.
people.
They disgruntled me.
Yeah, I think Mercy's flight
Oh.
speed is 60, right?
They were a bit standoffish.
Yeah.
Not 1 ounce of southern hospitality in those bones.
They
Mercy
got
is
bad
fast, but
bones.
Igre is also fast. They're not keeping up with Mercy, but like they're
It's
like
quite.
Talia speed.
They overtake Vias, I'm sure.
New.
Even with his
Yeah.
his action dash.
Yeah.
Yeah, at full speed, like they are Talia fast.
God's bless.
Cool.
Fella.
They're the one that has the like snake body, right?
Yes, so they're just
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, that makes sense.
like
They move
slithering
quick.
along very quick and moving through the crowd as you get closer to Market Square.
Oh.
I presume everyone is following.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And as you burst out onto the other side of Market Square, you find 5 semi-familiar figures.
These
Are they beat
motherfuckers.
up? Do they look like they got attacked by a fucking dragon?
Yes.
Ha!
And they're covered in plant and like they look like they have been through some shit.
So
Do
who
any
are
of them
these
look
motherfuckers?
particularly injured?
There are 5 adventurers that sort
Yeah.
of come through the door. One is a very large Earth Ganassi figure.
Fucking
How large are we talking?
Uh, like as big as Diona large.
Bixby.
Okay.
Bixby. Motherfucking Bixby.
Bixby.
Hate Bixby.
Fucking
Who
Bixby.
Joe,
Oh.
if you're aware, I fucked up the names, and in canon this will be Beryl, but not Bixby.
Okay. Yeah, that.
That's for something completely else.
Yeah,
Bixby,
I was wondering.
this very large Earth Ganassi figure. There is a human, uh, 2 humans actually, a dwarf and an elf. Um, the dwarf and one of the humans look also very strong, whereas the other human and the elf look a lot more slight. And the human has a hawk sort of perched on their shoulder. Um, but it's not like a hawk. It looks kind of wrong in a
Oh,
way.
a familiar then it must be.
I will shoot.
Not necessarily.
Maybe.
I will shoot it.
No, you don't.
I won't
No.
shoot it. I won't shoot it.
Okay, do
Yeah.
any of them particularly look very injured? Like critical or anything?
Critically, the one with the hawk on the shoulder looks pretty bad. But the other human is already sort of on them and casting healing magic, and you realize these 2 like look very similar.
Interesting.
And the dwarf looks like he's kind of bloodied.
Vias, depending on how far he is, I think he can do it. Let's see. Within 60 feet. When he's within 60 feet, he'll throw one of his d6s to that person.
Fair, and he looks a bit better, and he sort of looks up and
Wow, a natural 6.
he looks up and just, it's you. And Bixby sort of looks over, and all of them sort of look over, and you realize the elf is still kind of looking around, a little bit sort of confused.
Yeah, welcome to Alpali.
And I think that's where we're gonna stop.
God
Yeah.
damn it, Suzanne was gonna say salty shit.
Mercy just like descends and lands on Vias's shoulder and just like caws at them. Ah! Okay.
Yeah, I thought I was going based on the notes you'd sent me. Wait, is this